Good morning. Welcome to the Happy Harvest Homestead. Today I'm going to be taking you through the entire process of hatching chicken eggs, from the collecting of the fertile eggs all the way through the incubating of them and then the hatching of them, and then even to their first few days of life and feeding them and all that. We have a flock of, I believe, 24 Astrolorp hens and 2 roosters, so most of our eggs are fertilized. So a few weeks ago, I started collecting these fertile eggs and starting to save them in preparation for incubating them. As part of collecting eggs to incubate, you kind of want to make sure that the eggs you pick are like a good quality. If you have like a weirdly shaped egg, or like one that's too small, or one that's dirty, or that has a crack in it, the chicks will have a lower chance, or maybe even no chance, of hatching. So every night when the eggs were collected, I would sort through the eggs and decide which ones were good enough to keep and hatch, and which ones were not super good and we would just eat. I found that putting them out in the egg carton gave me a better idea of which ones were good and which ones weren't. It was easier for me to see a good sized egg versus a wonky sized egg and other things like that. So I would kind of lay some out in the carton and then decide which ones I wanted to keep and which ones I didn't. Then this one is good, so I'll put it in the keep pile. And then this one's good, so I'll put it in the keep pile as well. Then keep this one too. Keep that one. Keep that one. Keep that one. So these are the eggs that we're going to not keep and that we're going to eat. So I'll put them just on the counter with the rest of the eggs that we'll eat. Then the ones that we're going to keep and hatch, I'm going to write the date on the eggs. This step is a bit unnecessary, but I am kind of curious if there's like a difference between the eggs collected like soon and the eggs collected later. So, while they're out here and stuff, might as well just mark on them. It won't do any harm. And then storing eggs that you want to save for hatching is, you have to be a little particular in your storage. We only were able to collect 9 really good eggs today, and we have space for 24 eggs in our incubator, so it wouldn't make sense to just collect 9 eggs and hatch those when I could have a whole bunch more. But you have to store the eggs you want to keep for hatching in a special place, in kind of a special way. So we're going to a very cool, dark, dry place in our storage room downstairs. And these are the last 9 eggs we've been needing. We've been collecting a whole bunch more over the past few days. So now we have 24 eggs total, and we'll be able to start hatching them soon. Something else you have to do whenever you're keeping eggs to incubate later is turn them. I've been told that if you don't turn them, the yolks will stick to the inside of the shell and mess up the hatching or something like that. So every time I come in here, which is once a day whenever we collect eggs, I'll turn them. Now we're going to get the incubator out and set it up. So now that our first batch of eggs are incubating, I went ahead and started collecting eggs for the next batch. It'll be 3 weeks until our first batch of eggs hatches, but it can take a long time sometimes to get a whole bunch of really good eggs, so I figured we should start sooner rather than later so we can keep having a continuous batches of chicks hatching as fast as possible. So last time I did the dates on the eggs, so like the ones that were laid on the 2nd of March, I wrote a number 2 on. Then the ones laid on the 3rd of March, I wrote a 3 on. So that was for the last batch. But I think this time I'm just going to have it be by day. So this is the first day, so all these eggs will have a 1 on them. Whenever it was the beginning of March, it was easy because you just do like a 1, 2, 3 like that. Because it's more like the end of March and we'll be possibly going into April. It'll be easier just do it like this. All these not super awesome quality eggs will be eaten, so we'll put them on the counter with the rest of the eggs. We have a whole bunch of eggs right now. And then these really good eggs will go down to the cool place to be rotated every day until the incubator is empty and they're ready to go in. Alright, it has been 18 days since we began the incubator, which means about 3 days until the chicks will hatch. So we're going to stop rotating the eggs and then take the dividers out so that they're all laid flat and able to hatch better. If we left things as they are right now, the chicks would have a hard time hatching because there's dividers dividing things and the rotating would be kind of strange, especially for like chicks trying to get out of eggs. And there's so much developed, so they don't really need to be turned anymore. And the dividers are to like keep them from rolling around as they're being turned, so it's fine to just make things easier for the chicks as they hatch and spread everything out. Slide it back. Okay, we're ready for babies whenever. I also upped the humidity and increased the ventilation. So, I'm in the middle of eating breakfast, and someone just came in and said there's 2 chicks hatched, so I ran in here and look! I believe this is exactly day 21. There's 2 right there. It looks like maybe like a 4 and a 5 or something. That's pretty cool. We were so curious on what numbers would hatch first, so look at them. And then there's one pipping over there, another pipping over here. Now, I can't leave them in this incubator to like dry off and get fluffy because it's too small. So I need to get the other incubator that doesn't work like to incubate eggs. It's going to be like our mini dryer off brooder thing. So I'll be right back. And just to be clear, this second incubator does work. If you plug it in, it'll turn on. But it doesn't do a very good job with controlling the humidity at all. So while it's not good for like hatching eggs because the humidity keeps like fluctuating too much, it will do a great job at keeping these freshly hatched baby chicks nice and warm as they dry off. Hey babies. 1 and 2. Oh, there's a lot pipping. It looks like they were both 5s that hatched. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a whole bunch starting. That's good. Okay, we're gonna cover you up and get you warm. There you go. There they are. So cute. Then I'm going to go ahead and up the humidity. In the past, we've had problems with like eggs drying out and not hatching properly because it's too dry. 80, okay, that's as far as it goes. And plus, we're going to keep taking the lid on and off all the time, so it's going to dry it out more than usual. I might as well, put it as high as it can go. Okay, I just finished spraying some of the eggs. A few of them, like this one, have like, they're pipping and there's like some white stuff, but it was drying out. And we've had such bad luck with chicks not being able to hatch out because their eggs dry out too fast, or like the membrane on the eggs, it looked like it was drying out, so I just went ahead and sprayed them. And I don't know if that'll help or not, but hopefully that doesn't happen and we have more chicks that actually grow up and hatch. It is now the next morning and the chicks are dry enough to start putting some of them in the brooder. We have a heat lamp, water, and some corn mash, and some greens I picked for them. I have paper shreds as the bedding, and we're ready to put the chicks in. Okay, are you guys ready? A lot of you are dry. Some of you guys have hatched more recently, so you're still a little bit wet, but you look nice and fluffy. 1, 2, 14, wow, 15, 16, and then that 17th one is still pretty wet, so I'm gonna let him dry off. Okay, little guy, you're all alone now. Wow, so out of 24 eggs, we've had 17 hatch so far, and one is still working on it for sure, and then a couple more have pips in them, or they're pipping, or they have like little cracks. I doubt we'll get all 24, but 17 out of 24 is pretty good, and we're not even done yet. And it's raining outside, not very heavily, but I don't want to get these little guys wet, so I'm just going to cover them up very gently with a towel, keep the rain off. Okay, let's go to your new home. Finally get some food and water. Okay, we're in. Now, a lot of people will dip the chicks' beaks in water so that they like know where the water is. I don't know like how well that actually works, but I guess it can't really hurt, so we'll just dip your beak. I guess it may be different if you get chicks shipped to you in the mail versus hatching them yourself, so I don't know if that plays a part in it, but can't hurt. That's your food. You shouldn't stand in it. 2, 3. Oh, I should probably put you guys under the heat lamp, huh? There. Oh, it's so warm under here. There you go. Okay, all 16 are under the heat lamp. I dipped all their beaks in water. I'll have to come back over the next few hours and see how the level of the heat lamp is, if I have to put it lower or higher. If the chicks all huddle up under the heat lamp, then that means they're too cold. But if they're all like spread out away from it, that means it's too hot. If there are some under it and some out and just kind of wandering everywhere, then that means it's really good. So I'll give them a little time to get used to it and then come back and see if I need to raise it or lower it at all. It's been a few hours, so let's check before I open the lid. So if I open the lid, they'll all run away because they're kind of scared of me. But right now, it looks like they're all being around the heat lamp. It looks like the middle of the heat lamp is shining in this area, and they're not in the middle of it. But they're still, so they're kind of on the edges. But they're not like way over here where it's really cold. So it looks like it's about perfect. So this is really good. I'm going to leave them. I'll keep checking back on them today just because we're going to be home all day. So we're going to be here and be able to check on them often. So I'll make sure and do that. And make sure to update you if there's anything interesting that happens. They're eating food. They found it. Hooray! Good babies. It's the next morning. How did you enjoy your first night? It was really cold, wasn't it? I made sure to lower their heat lamp, but it looks like they all survived. Looks like they need fresh water and food. That's a good sign too, that they're eating and drinking. Then after I get them all set up for the day, we need to put more babies in. We have a few more who are dry enough to be put in. You guys ready for some new siblings? Okay, so we have 5 new babies who are dry that we'll add, plus another one who's not quite dry enough yet inside. That brings our total, there you go. That brings our total number of chicks to 22, and that's out of 24 eggs. The other 2 eggs have not hatched yet, but there's still a possibility they will. But if they don't, still we'll be very pleased with 22 chicks. That is an excellent hatch rate. So it's been a while. All the other eggs have hatched except for these 2. I think they're duds and that they won't hatch. So we're going to turn off the incubator, clean out the incubator, throw away those 2 eggs, and then start a second batch of eggs. You know we've been saving them, so we'll put them in now. I guess we could candle these eggs. I guess, yeah, let's candle them. Because if there's like babies inside that are just really late, which doesn't seem likely, but I guess maybe could be a possibility, then we don't want to kill them, you know? If it's all clear inside, or light inside, then we'll know that it's not okay. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, it looks pretty clear. No, there'd be a huge baby, like really black in there if there was anything. Yeah, it's the same color all the way through. I think they're both empty. Okay, what should we do with these eggs?
Roxy?
No, they'd be rotten and gross. I like throwing them off the cliff.
Yeah.
We could stand on the deck and throw them. Okay, ready? Woo! Ooh, that sounded so weird. Yeah, okay, go. Ooh, it sounded so gross. Alright, good job. Let's go clean out the incubator. Okay, so we washed everything and now we're letting it dry. The eggs have like a special like coating on them that if it gets wet, it'll like mess them up and make them not be able to hatch properly. So we have to make sure stuff's dry so that doesn't happen. So we're gonna wait till they're dry and then put the eggs in. It is the next day and the incubator stuff is all dry, so we're putting the eggs in. Now I have to do some explaining about these eggs because I collected a whole bunch and we had enough, but then I kind of forgot about turning them. And we're used to having very like little amounts of eggs, so we'll collect maybe like 2 or 3 really good eggs each day, and then I'll put them in and then turn them. So that's like part of my collecting process. But this year we have so many hens laying so many good eggs that it only took us a few days instead of like a week or so like usual. So I was turning them when I was collecting them, and then I stopped collecting them, and I forgot about turning them because I wasn't in there. So I realized this a few days ago, so we began using up the old eggs we'd saved and like recollecting eggs to replace the older ones. So some of these eggs are older, and then some of them are really new. So the older ones, maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see if they have like a worse hatch rate than the newer ones, if like the turning them made a huge difference or not, but I just figured better safe than sorry, so that's why we have some older ones and some newer ones. So we end the video with 22 healthy, good, alive, hatched chicks in the brooder, and 24 more eggs in the incubator, going to be our second batch of chicks in a few weeks. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!